G'day everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's episode we are going to get these doors looking schmick. So first off, this passenger side door, we've got quite a bit of rust underneath on the bottom here. That's pretty common though, so you can buy whole skins for the bottom side of these doors, but I'm going to try and get away with just patching it with some sheet metal that I have. I have already purchased the underside of the inner door skins, so those should be coming pretty soon. And then there's just a few other problem areas. So this door has the little clip thingies for the trim, so I'm gonna have to cut those off because I don't have trim and I don't want the trim on the doors. And then there's just a few little rust spots everywhere. So there's some up here, there's some on the inside panel. So what I'm going to do is just going to tackle one area at a time, and yeah, I'll keep you guys updated. So I've just completely cut away all the bits that I needed to. So I went a bit further than what I wanted to, but as I opened it up, I sort of saw how bad the rust was in there. And so you would have seen me peeling that back until I got to a pretty decent area. Obviously it's still rusty down there, but that's just how it is with 50-year-old metal. So what I will do is probably put some cavity wax or something down there, maybe fish oil or something, hang the doors upside down, just so I can try and preserve that as much as I can. So you would have also seen me making a piece to go in here. That's that there. But then I was just thinking, I'm sort of making it extra steps for myself, because that's actually one skin that wraps around the entire frame there. So I'm going to try and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the exact same thing again, make it longer to go to here, and then I'm going to try and also make it wider so that I have enough to then wrap around the inner door frame, because that's really what it is. You've got like two bits of metal there. You've got this outer one that tucks in here and then it comes out and it folds over. And you've got this inner one here that wraps around the windowsill. So yeah, I figured instead of having to do 2 welds, because if I weld that in, then I've got to make another piece for here that wraps around this after I put this piece in. I figured, why not just make that one piece and then cut away what I have to, and that way I don't have to weld twice. I don't have to weld this seam here. Well, really this seam here, I'll still have to weld this seam here because I'm not cutting that part away. But yeah, I just figured that'd be probably the best course there. So yeah, I'm going to cut my piece out now and then bend it how I bent this one, and see how it turns out. If it doesn't turn out good, then I can just go to plan A, but I figured I'd try this out first. Alrighty, so I'm pretty much ready to fold this edge over now. What I did was I just gave it you can't really see it on the camera because I've painted it black now, but yeah, you can sort of see it there. I gave it a quick little slit with the angle grinder, just so it's easier to fold over. So I'll clamp it with a few clamps and then I think I'll tap the edge over. I think that's probably the best way to do it. I don't really know another way. And yeah, we'll see how it turns out. There's the edge folded over there. I tried to use vice grips at the start, but it didn't really work out because you couldn't really get in there to hammer the edge down. So I just ended up using a hammer and dolly and slowly worked my way through it. and it actually turned out really nice. Like from this distance you can't really tell like where it transitions. So there's this little slit on the back side there that I'm going to weld up, and then there's a low spot here, don't know if you can really see it on the camera, right through there, that I might just weld up higher and then grind a bit flush to get it sort of a smooth transition. I don't really want to filler over that there. But yeah, overall I'm actually pretty happy with the way this turned out. Like, I sort of went into it blind and it really came out better than I expected. So yeah, I'm just also waiting for the electric die grinder that I ordered to come. It's taking its time, but yeah, once I have that I can sort of get into like these weird little areas here and get them nice and smooth and the way they were looking from factory. So yeah, actually really happy with the way this has turned out. But I think what I'll do now is move on to the door skin. So you can see how bad the rust is, especially at the bottom, which is pretty normal, because all the water sits down there. You know, there's a few drain holes in the bottom, but they get clogged up with dirt and leaves, and then the water sits there and starts rusting from the inside out. So what I think I'm going to do is, because it's really bad, especially from about this point on, I think I might just cut the whole skin straight across and make a new piece to go on there. I ended up also getting the inner door skin. It finally arrived, and I must say the quality is not that great. Like, I understand that these are reproduction parts, but like the molding, especially like here in this corner, like look at that, that's terrible. That's not smooth at all. Like, it's got a big divot in it, so I'm gonna have to try and fix that. And then over on this side, like, yeah, right, that's not that bad. Like, I can probably just hammer that out, but honestly not the best quality. But I guess that's sort of what you get with reproduction parts. So having this cut open, I can see that on the inside there's a few rust spots that I'm gonna need to address. And they're behind this section here, which looks a bit suspicious from this side as well. So there's this area here and this area here. So what I think I might do is, while I have access to it with that cut opening, I might slit it down the side here and drill out all the spot welds, just so that I can take this piece off, have a look at what's going on the inside there, and treat any of the rusts that I can get to. That way this doesn't become a big issue in another few years. So I'm going to try to do my best without going too much in depth, because the more you cut out, you know, the more work you make for yourself. So yeah, we'll give that a go and see how it turns out. So you can see how bad it is in here, and that's where that hole was being formed, right there. So that section's got to be replaced, but other than that, that can just get cleaned up. And back here's got to be replaced too. So, but that'll happen when I cut the bottom side off. So yeah, what I might do now is just get this front skin panel like ready to weld on, and then I'll probably zip off the bottom so I can have access to underneath here as well, just to fix both that hole and that hole up, clean up all the rust, and yeah, we'll see how we go from there. Right, so I've been at it for a bit, and you can see I've cut away the bottom part now, and this corner is a mess, so I'm gonna have to try and fix it. There's no like rare spares part for this bit here, so I'm all on my own, sadly. But what I'm thinking is I'll do it in bits. So here you can see there's quite a lot of pitting along this edge, so I'm gonna trim this edge out and then weld in a bit there, and then this side here I can trim here and make that piece up and weld that in. The trickiest part I think will be this corner. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do this corner yet. I'm going to have to butcher something up because I've got no like metal shaping tools besides a hammer. So yeah, I mean, we'll see how we go. First thing I'm going to do is cut this away. I've already made a piece. To go there. And then yeah, I'll just tackle it bit by bit. When I get this part looking right, and then also when I fix this part up. So I'm just going to have to cut this part out and weld a new bit in there, and treat all the surface rust in this area. Then I can move on to putting the lower inner skin back in. So got to do this, then the lower skin, then the outer skin. Yeah, it's taking a while, but slowly but surely getting there. So I've ended up cutting away this area here because I noticed there was quite a bit of pitting back here, and I thought, well, let's just cut this part of the skin off and see what's under there, and it ended up being this. So yeah, that's not the best. So what I did was I cut that bit of plate away and welded a new piece of plate in. I also figured out that this part of the door is actually 1.5 mil thick, not 1 mil. So the pieces that I was making were out of 1 mil sheet, and obviously I want to keep the strength and integrity of the door, so I ended up just buying some 1.5 mil sheet here, and I've remade the parts that I'm going to weld in. So I've made one that goes in there, and I've also made one that goes there. So yeah, I'm going to weld those in now, try and rebuild this corner here, and see how it turns out. What I also think I might do is just leave the bottom part open for now, and then start working on the other door, because basically you can see inside there, especially right under where the windowsill sits, it's quite rusty and pitted. I don't know if you can see that too well, but what I think the best course of action is going to be now is to leave this bottom part open and have someone sandblast the inside. Obviously while they're there, I'll just get them to sandblast the whole door. But yeah, you really want to get rid of all that rust there. You can see in that corner there, it's quite a bit. And yeah, I think it would be a bit too difficult for them to like only have this. You sort of only have this opening here in the door. And like to get in there with a sandblast nozzle might be a bit difficult. You can't really see what you're doing, whereas now that I already have the bottom like basically fully open, it'd be way easier for them to get in there and just blast away all that rust. And then I can pour some sort of like primer paint rust inhibitor down on the inside of the door, try and get it to to pour into the door frames, really get it good in there, just so it prevents any of the rust that's in the door frame from spreading. And then yeah, I can have all this primed, and then I can weld on the two bottom pieces that I have. Alright, so this is what we're up to. I got a bit ahead of myself and I welded this corner in without recording it. But, I mean, you guys have seen me weld for the past like 10 episodes, I feel like. So, you're not really missing out on much. Yeah, managed to get it all looking pretty nice, actually. Pretty happy with how it turned out. I've welded the back side of this piece in as well, because you're going to see that. So I welded that in, ground it flush. Just got to clean it up a bit more and it should look pretty good. I've also ground this edge flush here and this flush here, because that piece sits against there and against this lip here is where you spot weld. But the pieces inside here, like that there, I've grounded it a bit back, but I'm going to stop there because there's no need, and plus you get more strength out of the weld if you don't grind it back. So I'm going to leave those welds that you're not going to be able to see as is, and then yeah. So what I was just planning on doing now is cutting this piece to size. So I just overlaid the old bit on it, and I've got a mark here that you probably can't see because it's black on black, but I can see it. And I'm just going to chop it across where I've marked and see how it fits. Obviously it's a reproduction part and it's not going to fit exactly as the original did, but I'm going to try make it fit as well as it can. And yeah, at that point I may tack it in just to see what it all looks like. I may have an issue at this corner here because I made this whole part differently, as you can see. I haven't welded in there yet, and that's because I'm waiting to fit the new piece in to see if I've got to like chop out if that's too high there, because I was test fitting the rusted piece and it was sitting a bit weird on that bump there. But then I was test fitting the new piece and it looked like it was sitting alright, so I'm just going to see what it looks like once I cut this up, and we'll go from there. But I reckon I may have to do a bit more work, especially here, to get it all fitting right. But other than that, I'm happy so far. So that corner is looking pretty good now. Pretty happy with that. I have spent ages on this door, and I think I'm going to stop here for now. Just because I have a question for everyone who has done this in the past. What do we think about acid dipping versus bead blasting or sandblasting. So I've been discussing this with a few mates of mine, and I'm not sure what the right option for me is. Either I leave it where it is right now and get it all blasted, so at least, you know, if I leave it as is, I can leave it open and get all the in here blasted and then down here in there blasted. Or I complete the door and get it dipped, and that way the acid will get all in the rails. The only issue I've heard with that is that if you don't neutralize the acid well enough, then it causes issues down the track. But if you do take it to a proper place, they should be dipping it in acid, then neutralizing it and doing all that properly. So I don't know. I mean, let me know what you guys have done in the past yourselves, if any of you watching have done this. But yeah, I'm sort of stuck for choices here, so I really appreciate all the help in the comments. And in the meantime, I guess I can start working on the other door, because that's probably just as bad. I mean, you can see this corner on the exterior of it, and I'm gonna need to do something similar there. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. But hopefully the frames are all good. The frames look good from the outside, so hopefully I don't need to redo a frame piece. But yeah, this corner took me ages, so yeah, that's gonna take a while too. But thanks for watching, everyone. Please be sure to like, comment and subscribe. I'll see you next time.